You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Good evening, everyone. It is 5:30 p.m. on Monday, April 14th. I'd like to bring the regular meeting with the Branford Board of Police Commissioners to order. I need I'm looking at two of them. I need a motion to approve the minutes of March 10th to 25.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we need an approval, we need another motion for approval of minutes for a special meeting we had on March 26th,
I'll make a motion.
2025.
Second.
I abstain. I wasn't there.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, report of the chief, please.
All right, good evening, everyone. For the monthly statistic report, a few things that I'll point out. The month of March proved to be fairly busy when it came to arrests. We had 57 in the month of March. That's a lot for us. That's up 21 from February. You know,
They
all
have
over.
no jail.
And that's Commissioner, it's a tremendous segue into thanking East Haven. We're still residing there for our prisoners. We appreciate them allowing us to use their facility and working with us. So, yeah, they did mention that our numbers were a little up. Some good news, the behavioral are kind of mental health calls. I don't want to jinx ourselves, but we're down about 40% for this month or for March compared to last year. Again, that can pivot on a dime, but that's encouraging. The drug overdoses are down also. However, just recently there was, which is consistent with a bad batch of fentanyl. It affected East Haven, it affected us, it affected Guilford and East Haven. So we did see a trend right there, which is indicative of that, where each municipality will start seeing it at a certain time. But that's what that more than likely was attributed to. Our family violence, unfortunately, we're not seeing tremendous movement there. We would like to see that, but that's not happening. So, again, a mixture, but I always am cautious to bring that out that, we're doing well, because that can change as it did last meeting. I made a comment about a few things, and lo and behold, we had burglaries on Jefferson Road. That's on page 3 on the top there. I just want to highlight this case. Great teamwork by the detectives, the patrol officers, and the usage of some technology, specifically our license plate reader system that the town funded through some ARPA money and is installed. The suspect went in, broke into occupied and unoccupied apartments. A witness and an officer observed a van that was parked in the area. They were able to get a partial license plate. They fed it into the license plate reader system. They immediately saw that it had hit in East Haven. After it left town, we knew the direction. Developed a suspect. East Haven responded to the home. Our officers went there, interviewed him, and made the arrest on site right then and there.
Perfect.
It was multiple units, but just good teamwork all together. And that investigation is continuing because there was more within one of the vehicles that is tied to numerous other burglaries. So job well done and utilizing that technology. The driving while intoxicated, we are in that cycle of, with a DOT grant, we're putting out directed patrols specifically targeting impaired driving. And as you can see the numbers, I don't know if this is good or it's bad. I think it's good, and when we're out there, we're making arrests, but that tells you that there is a population out there that is still choosing to operate a vehicle while they're under the influence of alcohol and or drugs. 6 of them in the month of March. So word to the wise, we are out there. Don't drink and drive. You have ride share opportunities. There's no good reason or excuse, but we will continue that. So larceny is pretty consistent at the bigger stores. The motor vehicle thefts are up. This is a trend that ebbs and flows, comes back and forth. Again, what we're seeing is, though, 3 of these vehicles, the keys were in it.
Yep.
And 2 others are tractors related to shipping and stuff. So, please lock your cars. Don't leave your keys in the cars. Try to be diligent in doing that. They'll find another place to go if we batten down and lock the cars. The weather is turning. When we do have the discretionary time, we're getting the officers out there for targeted traffic enforcement. You'll see the numbers are up. I expect these numbers to continue to go up. The regional traffic team will be mobilizing soon. And just overall, the officers being out there in the neighborhoods where we get the most complaints and targeting those. So as the weather continues to get good and the activity picks up, we will be out there.
Chief, how many traffic officers are there? 2?
We have no more traffic officers. Years
It's
ago,
just enforcement.
this is from your line officers that are fielding calls during their shift, and when they have the time available, when they're not writing reports, making arrests, or handling other calls for service, we have them deployed out in a running list. All right,
I'd like to commend the crime analyst again for the preparation of these reports.
yeah, Michael,
I love it, like the.
Very easy to read.
They're easy to be.
he's,
What do we have sponsors with Kohl's and CVS?
I think that's where they have the most burglaries.
Right.
not only does he does all this, but he also assists our records division. He's also doing our accreditation work. So we're going to let him run,
Please commend it.
Yeah, I will.
Yes, this is really good.
So he also does a very nice job with the personnel overview. This is, again, a moving target, but just to give you a synopsis of where we stand right now. Officer Healy and Officer Manware have graduated from the field training. They are now in solo capacity out on their own. They did very well. We have 2 new officers that just started a week ago up at the Meriden Police Academy. And we have Officer Adriana Carrasco that you remember from a certified officer. She's still on a field training, but I anticipate she'll be on her own shortly. Doing a very good job. We're very lucky to have her, as you recall from the interviews. We do have 1 dispatcher who's in training. She's in that field training capacity. And we do have another retirement coming up in July that we're preparing for. The deputies working with Captain Galdenzi and Lieutenant Carangelo to identify a person to fill that. As you will see, we went over the retirements and the resignation last month, but he did include it. Audra Clyburn left us for the Department of Motor Vehicles, and Dispatcher Denise Stein moved on for a job that was more in line with her personal goals, and we wish her well. They're both doing well. So that's where we sit right now for the personnel. Go ahead.
Quick question. Can you elaborate a little on that draft 1, artificial intelligence training?
So this is technology. It's AI technology that will take the body camera footage from the officers and transcribe it, and then use AI to create a police report. There are some concerns in law enforcement about this technology, so in testing it, we decided that you can't use it for reports that are an investigation, a serious investigation and or an arrest. or a case that involved the use of force, because for the use of force and for the arrest, we need the officer's observations and perception, and they need to craft that. With that said, it left us with, kind of your neighbor disputes, your civil landlord-tenant. There's still a host of calls that it would be appropriate for. So we are in the testing phase. It is a costly add-on in our contract, our July contract with Axon. So far, we're like at a 50-50. The feedback so far is 50-50. One officer did 6 calls. The system accurately translated and crafted the report for 3 of them. And then 3 of them that I think just the complexity and how many people were talking and what was going on, it just felt like they were just better starting from scratch. More to come on that. We're going to monitor that and see where we go with it. But we don't want to jump in yet until we're
Okay.
That
sure.
would be a good thing, though. If it pans out, you'll get
Should save
the
a lot of
officers on the road longer, right?
That's the goal, but, the price tag that's associated with it, we want to be careful and make sure that we want to be an early adopter, but we also don't want to be using it at 25% of what we should be.
Yeah.
Because when I looked at the numbers, I took a labor rate, a conservative labor rate, and we needed to glean, I think, like 7 hours of savings a week to make it worthwhile per officer, which easily could be done. But as you know, with the mandates of the state and some of the paperwork, complex cases or arrest cases, I don't see this
No.
being used. There's a lot of debate about that. So
Okay. keep
your eyes out for that. That was a good way into the training synopsis. Detective Lieutenant Don Mueller went to an FBI-sponsored command college up at Foxwood. They do a great job every year. Fantastic instructors and topics. He spoke very highly of that program, so we'll continue doing that. Down a little bit, the commissioner brought up the draft 1. That is ongoing right now. They did get the initial training on it, and it is being utilized by a select group. And we went over, as you were talking about, Michael Smith, the crime analyst. He just finished up an accreditation manager certification training to be a certified accreditation manager and continue that work for us. Correspondence, we have a fair amount tonight, which is good. We received a correspondence from a resident that was that their friend went through a very, very difficult mental health call, and Detective Peter Konzerski was assigned to investigate. And during that process, they just want to thank him for his professionalism and compassion and how everything was handled in the very trying times for these people. Kind of good to see. We have a lot of correspondence about our dispatchers this month. It's great. This one's from the fire department, Captain Chinden, about Dispatcher Schultz. The dispatchers have to adhere to an emergency medical dispatch protocol, and it prompts them, and as you know, some of these calls are very difficult. People's, anxiety, they're screaming, they have to bring them down. And she did a great job and was able to get the information to elevate the call to more of a priority 1 call. And the captain does review these. So he just wanted to let us know that she did a great job and her professionalism was evident. And Alicia Schultz and Tom Kuhn, we had a malfunction of a router that controlled some of the internet, which then in turn shut down some of the electronic systems in our dispatch center. It did not affect the 911. It didn't affect the crucial aspects of the center. However, it challenged them, and Sergeant Melissa Carney was on duty, and she wanted to note how well they pivoted and how well they were able to maintain, service continuity without any issues. their composure and their improvised thought process. She wanted to commend them, so we bring that forward for review tonight. And then Dispatcher Patty Nunberg, she attended a course on behalf of the police department with other departments within the town, and they just wanted to reach out and say, you know, she brought a lot of energy, but she also brought in a lot of knowledge and really helped the meeting. And this was a spill prevention and control meeting that they had that was very important on the hazardous side. Officer John Abley, a nice Guilford resident, was a victim of a disabled motor vehicle. Officer Abley came to her aid, and as Officer Abley always does, he made that a very meaningful contact, and she just wanted to reach out and thank him. Dispatcher Christina Sands and Greg Faust. The resident got lost. They were walking her dog and got lost in the woods, and we had to utilize some of the GPS technology and keep them on the phone to kind of get situational awareness of where they were. And I believe Lieutenant Eula found them, but they wanted to reach out and thank Dispatcher Sands and Faust for being their lifeline in a time of need. Along the lines of public outreach, just a recognition for Officer Palmalas, Carrasco, and McCone. They did a bunch of things. They were at the Pine Orchard Nursery School. As you know, that could be a tough crowd sometimes to them. But you know how they made it fun, and everyone was appreciative. And then they were off to a group home here in town to meet with some of the people there, and just great job, great community outreach. This is where we, you know, build that community support and show the other side of policing, which is just as important as all the traditional duties. And then the usual, you know, Sergeant Carney was working with the schools and volunteering in the classroom. And so that's the end of correspondence. In the deputy's absence tonight, I will give you an update on the building project. He's been very, very busy, a lot going on. As of today, things seem to be moving along on schedule where we need to be. The selective demolition is pretty much done. There's a little left up on the upper floor, but the basement's pretty much all demoed. It is all dirt right now. They're running some internal lines right now, and they hope to pour that new slab in the coming weeks. My understanding is once that slab is poured, we're going to see some movement with the framing going up and the mechanicals going in. So that looks really good. The site work, there's a lot. If you drive by, if you go down Harrison and take a peek, there's a lot going on in the backyard. New water, gas, sewer lines. There's a wall that's going up that they poured the footings for. So there's a lot of site work, and that's on track. On April 22nd, due to a gas line changeover, the building has to be vacated for that period of time.
Oh.
So we've been working with the state of Connecticut, and probably about a year or two ago, they built a statewide emergency communications center up in the police academy up in Meriden. It has 10 or 11 fully functional dispatch centers, and it has 911 technology. It has everything you need to operate a 911 center. Fortunately, we were able to bring in a very good cohesive team with the state, from radios to IT to 911 and to the facility managers themselves, most of them falling under the authority of DESP and DSET. And we were able to replicate all of our capabilities out of that center. So our radios, they worked with us. We've been working on this for a few months, and we did the first round of testing was completely successful. The second round of testing is happening, I believe, on Wednesday. And then on the 22nd, we will be relocating dispatch up there for 8 hours for the day shift. They will report there. There will be an officer stationed at the at 33 Laurel at the police department in the trailer. There'll be signage for the public, so the public will still go there. They still will be able to get police service or contact with an officer. But all of our 911 and our radio transmission will be occurring in Meriden virtually. Again, these are redundant systems that we've tested, so there shouldn't be any impacts. But that's a big,
Yeah.
hat off to the state of Connecticut with this one. We'll be the second agency to utilize this facility, so it's still relatively new. But a lot of meeting, a lot of work by various different agencies within the state, so that'll be occurring. The deputy wanted to mention that at the last PBC meeting, they did approve a furniture package for the lower level. This mainly encompasses the evidence shelving, the armory, weapons storage units, and this was items that we need to get pre-ordered early on. The second floor and the remaining furniture package will be considered by the PBC a later date, but this was something that they had to push forward kind of in light of some of the cost escalations.
My understanding from that meeting is that it had to go, even though the committee approved it, that it had to go to the Board of Selectmen. And Deputy Chief Alves did not think it should wait more than a week or they might lose the pricing. So in light of Board of Selectmen canceling the meeting tomorrow, how is that going to affect things?
I was privy to a few of the discussions. I did not review the quote myself. They were going, as you know, they were going to the Board of Selectmen to get kind of quote unquote a bid waiver because they bought direct. So significant savings doing it that way. And it just needs their approval and their stamp to move forward. You know, Lieutenant Carangelo was designated to sit in for the deputy for that. So I will have her check with the vendor to see. I don't think I think the window will still be open. I think we'll be okay.
Next week? If it's
Yeah.
done next week?
Yeah, but I'll double check on that.
Yeah, because Jamie was at that meeting and, you know, obviously he's very supportive of it, so it should have been a one and done deal that they're.
Yeah, it met all the criteria, and it was
Yeah.
the prudent course of action in light of the savings. So that's just something we'll have to double check on the date, but I think they would have, you know, flagged that hopefully, but we'll double check. Other than that, everything seems to be on track. You know, a project of this size, I think in the next couple of weeks, once we get out, you know, maybe 2 or 3 more weeks, we'll have a more comfortable sense that we're past the part of contingency worrying about what's next. But it does look very interesting in there. There's not.
Yeah.
So, and then the only thing I'll close with is related to the project. You know, the staff has been great, specifically our dispatchers. They're still in the building there, in their temporary facility, their temporary room there. We appreciate the public's patience. You know, we are utilizing some conference technology with the buttons in the lobby to make notification. But the officers are there. There's a shift commander there. So everyone's coming together to get through it. If I'm not mistaken, we're 87 or 90 days into the project with an estimated 360 to go.
Yeah. But who's counting?
We're almost there.
I'm not counting. You know, and again, our fire department for allowing us to be in there. The only other thing, not to end on a bad note, but just so you know, I brought it up before. We are trending a little high on the overtime. This was to be expected. Last fiscal year, we were over, but when I speak to the overtime, historically, there's been 5 accounts. There's 5 different overtime accounts. There's sick replacement, there's straight overtime, there's special event overtime, vacation overtime, meaning that if someone took a vacation day and we had to hire, it goes in that category. What happens with that is sometimes what came first, the chicken or the egg? If I put in for vacation and then someone booked off sick, where does that go? Does that go towards sick? It's just something that was before my time. It's fine, but internally, we have about 23 or 26 different overtime codes that we track. So we know where all the overtime goes. Is it training? Is it court work? Is it prisoner guarding? All these things. So what happens is the overtime account is short, but yet some of the other ones there's still money in there. So it's going to necessitate a transfer. Last year I had a transfer, I believe, about 75,000, 73,000. Again, that's going to happen again this year. I'm confident we're going to make the mark with what's within the budget. The other part is this is starting to show our focus on getting rid of some of the comp time that was occurring and paying one for one if they're working, paying them the overtime when they work as opposed to kicking the can. As you know, our personnel, we've been up and down. At one point, this is representative of a high month that we had. We had about 4 or 5 patrol officers who were out for long-term injury, shortages. So just something to throw on the radar. Again, we're gonna come in on the mark. It's just some transfers will have to be had just because of that categorization. Maybe something in the future we look at of consolidating it down. Because internally, it's all tracked. But other than that, everything is well.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, traffic issues and requests.
Oh,
Hi, Patty.
sorry. Yeah, there was a request to remove one parking spot on Crescent Bluff Avenue, the north side in front of Unit 10. The traffic committee is recommending no action. Then there is a request to add a no parking sign in front of 29 Bradley Avenue, north side. Again, the committee is recommending no action on that one. It's a very narrow street and there's no parking on one side of the street only. So to put a no parking sign where she wants it, that's the side of the street that traffic moves on. The last one was to add 2 stop signs at the intersection of Cherry Hill Road and Tots Hill Road. Signs would be placed in front of 147 and 145. This is a relatively new development. There is 1 stop sign there, but it really needs 2 more so that it's a 3-way stop. The committee is recommending that this be approved. That's
Okay.
it.
So, do we need a motion to approve the 2 stop signs at the intersection of Cherry Hill Road and Tots Hill Road?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Second.
second.
Second,
Christine, seconded.
all in favor?
Aye.
Is that it, Patty?
Yeah, that was it.
Report of the chair, just on behalf of the Board of the Police Commissioners, Branford Police Commissioners, would like to offer our deepest condolences to the family of Anthony LaSalle, who passed away recently. Anthony was a police commissioner for many years, so we just want to give our condolences to his family.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome. No citizens' comments, so I would ask for an adjournment. We can adjourn the meeting
To adjourn.
at 5:59 PM. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.